So, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I was a bit of a Cartoon Network kid. I know, right? There's no way you guys could have ever guessed. From the 10 Steven Universe videos, 5 Adventure Time videos, regular show videos, Gumball videos, and just the general everything about me. But who cares about watching these shows? I want to be in these shows. I want to experience them. I want to live in them. But I can't, because I'm made of meat. So the next best thing is, of course, video games. The wonderful world of gaming is here to let me live out my sad dreams and feel what it's like to be in my favorite cartoons. So today, I want to look at the weird world of Cartoon Network video games. New, old, good, bad, just anything interesting I could get my hands on. Now, this is far from the first time I've covered Cartoon Network games on this channel. I've talked about regular show games, Adventure Time games, and most notably, I've talked at length on the Steven Universe Light series of RPGs. These are some of my favorite cartoon tie-in games ever made, and I've done full playthroughs on them across multiple videos. So why bring them up again? Well, that all has to do with a little game called Ink Inside, which is the sponsor of today's video. Thank you, Ink Inside. This is a brand new upcoming indie game from Blackfield Entertainment, developed by some of the minds behind the Steven Universe Light games. And you can tell instantly just looking at it, it has the exact same vibe. Ink Inside is an action RPG that takes place in a world of drawings. Like, literally, the game takes place inside notebooks full of drawings done by a girl named Hannah. These notebooks, full of different characters and worlds, are packed up and left in a closet. But a leak in the ceiling leads to the worlds inside these drawings being threatened by a dangerous Sog. So it's up to you to save these worlds from being washed away. And you do this through a really unique form of real-time RPG combat based on dodgeball of all things. It's a really cool idea, it keeps things moving. But the really important thing is that I'm in this game. Well, my voice is. Yes, Blackfield Entertainment actually reached out to me to voice a couple characters for Ink Inside. Chaos and Calamity, two little ferret brothers who help you out on your journey, and again, are voiced by me. I gave them New York accents because that's how voice acting works. If you've played any of these guys' previous games, Ink Inside will feel instantly familiar and comfortable. I think it's a fun project with a lot of potential, and I'm honored they wanted my dumb voice in the game once, let alone twice. Ink Inside launches on Steam this coming July. So if you're interested, please be sure to wishlist the game on Steam. But if you want to try it out a bit early, you can join the official Ink Inside Discord for a chance to play the demo. Links for both are right down in the description below. The wishlist and the Discord. Major thanks to Ink Inside for sponsoring today's video and allowing me to voice some characters in their game. And now, let's get back to the world of Cartoon Network games. And actually, speaking of the Steven Universe Light games, you ever noticed how this box art for Steven Universe Save the Light, Steven's not the only character on the box? Yeah, you see that little guy down there? That's KO, the main character of one of the most underrated Cartoon Network shows ever, OK KO Let's Be Heroes. This show is all about KO learning to be a hero, working at a local bodega, and protecting their plaza from the evil Boxman, whose headquarters, Boxmore, is literally right across the street. It's a really cute action comedy with a fantastic art style. And I've been wanting to talk about this show in some capacity for years because I absolutely love it and it definitely deserved better. So when the show got a video game a few years back, OKKO Let's Play Heroes, I actually got really into it. Let's Play Heroes actually has a pretty unique setup. Half the game is like a day-to-day life simulator adventure game. You play as KO, going about his daily life, working at the plaza and trying to become a hero. Each day starts with you getting to the plaza, chatting with some of your friends like Enid, Rad, and Dendy, and doing some random stuff for him. Literally, one of the first things I had to do was get a GIF for Dendy. I was tasked with finding a GIF. I don't know if this game knows how images work, which is kind of weird for a cartoon game. And after wasting your time socializing, you clock in for work. Whoa! And do whatever your boss, Mr. Gar, tells you to do, all for a bountiful paycheck at the end of the day. $6. Yikes. But throughout the day, at literally any point, robots from Boxmore will attack the plaza. And suddenly the other half of the game starts, and it's Street Fighter. Okay, well, not exactly Street Fighter. But yeah, every now and then you gotta fight some robots. And the fighting actually feels pretty smooth. It's nothing super deep, but the animation really makes it feel satisfying. Speaking of which, oh my god, look at this game. I haven't played this thing in years, and I forgot just how incredible it looks. I know I've said Steven Universe Save the Light is my favorite cartoon tie-in game, but OKKO Let's Play Heroes is a close second. I like basically everything about this game. It mixes the world of fighting games, which I'm usually not big on, with like an indie point-and-click adventure game, which is the kind of thing I love, and then mixes all of that with one of the most charming cartoons I've ever seen. And the end result is a criminally underrated game based on a criminally underrated show. And hey, Warner Brothers might not want you to watch OKKO anymore, but no one's stopping you from playing this game.
It's an act of rebellion. I'm gonna drink a soda.
It's an incredibly faithful adaptation of the show. Go buy it, go play it, don't ask questions. It's so good, seriously. I only sat down to play the game for maybe an hour to get footage for this video, and I'm already wanting to work my way through the whole thing again. But I can't, because now I have to move on to the next game, and it's bad. But I couldn't really make a video about Cartoon Network games without talking about Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion XL. Can you guess what it is? Punch Time Explosion is Cartoon Network's just horribly named attempt at a Super Smash Bros. Clone. Seriously, that name is god-awful. And the game ain't much better. We all know what Smash Bros. Is, right? Is that big Nintendo crossover fighter where Kirby can eat Steve from Minecraft? Yeah, you know what it is. So Cartoon Network's take on that formula is, of course, gonna be a big crossover of all their biggest shows in 2011. Yeah, this is a weird time for Cartoon Network. All the big shows we associate with them now, like Adventure Time, Regular Show, Gumball, Steven Universe, all of those were either brand new or not even a thing yet. So none of those are here. Instead, we have Chowder, Flapjack, Ben 10, Dexter, Samurai Jack, A Man, A Monkey, Ben 10, and Captain Planet. Yeah, among others. It's a weird roster, but it doesn't really matter because when I first booted up the story mode, I could only play as Ben 10. Oh good. My favorite. I don't like Ben 10 that much. So yeah, Ben 10 materializes in Marzipan City from Chowder and just runs around beating up various food-related enemies. Honestly, this just makes me wish there was a Chowder game. That would probably be more interesting. The game feels basically the exact same as Super Smash Bros., but with one or two control changes that are just different enough to be really annoying. Smash Bros. Has a really particular control scheme that I just couldn't shake the muscle memory of, especially with jumping and doing the whole air recovery thing. I couldn't get the hang of that to save my life. Literally. The level itself, though, was kinda easy, but I soon came face to face with my first true challenge, Chowder. Will this human with the power of 10 super powerful aliens stand a chance against this small, unsuspecting creature of minimal intelligence? Aw, man! Yes. Yeah, game's not hard, but winning does unlock Chowder as a playable character, so I guess the game's good now. And honestly, Punch Time Explosion is fine. It's nothing special, but for a cheap Smash clone from 12 years ago, it's whatever. I didn't really like it, but it's not bad. And to be fair, I was playing the single player. Games like these are meant to be played in multiplayer. That's where the real fun is, with friends! Oh. Guess I'm moving on now. Punch Time Explosion is not a particularly great game, but I will say, the game did make me want to check out some old school Cartoon Network stuff. Something classic. And when it comes to my childhood, the late 90s, early 2000s, Cartoon Network was carried by Ed, Edd n Eddy. This is an absolute all-time top-tier Cartoon Network show. If you don't remember, it's about 3 Ed boys being just terrible people by trying to scam all their neighbors, who are also terrible people, out of their money so the Eds can go buy jawbreakers that would choke an elephant. It's an amazing show. It's also from 1999 and ran until 2009. And if you didn't know, the 2000s weren't really the best time for cartoon tie-in games. There were a couple of gems, but I remember way more janky, confusing games. Oh hey, look at that. Ed, Edd n Eddy, The Miss Adventures is a 3D adventure game from 2005. And it might be the most chaotic thing I've ever seen. I mean, only a few seconds in, and this is what the game is. Ew. It hurts. So you play as Ed, Edd n Eddy and can switch between them at any time to make use of their different whatevers. I swear, just moving these guys around is a freaking chaotic trip. They blast off at full speed if I even so much as breathe on the controller. And they all have these horrifying running animations. Speaking of, why do they look like this? I get it, some cartoons are tough to translate into 3D. I've seen the regular show toys, but oh my god, just look at Eddie. He's horrific. How is he both too detailed and not detailed enough? And Jimmy here almost looks like an actual human. It's pure uncanny valley. And hello, Kevin. Legit, I think the only character who looks right is Ed. Really, no complaints here. Except for how often I have to beat up animals when I'm playing as them. But yeah, you play as the 3 Eds and basically run around being the worst human beings you can be. Oh my god, he's so small. In the literal tutorial, I'm beating up animals, wrecking a child's stuffed animals, and throwing angry squirrels into a person's house. Like, look at this. Look at the damage I've caused. This was someone's life, and now it's ruined. All in the name of trying to get literal pocket change. The later levels don't get much better either. In the next one, we're literally trudging through the sewers to sneak into a birthday party we weren't invited to. And when we get there, we break all their piñatas and drop literal refrigerators on people's heads. What is going on? This game's an absolute mess. It works perfectly fine, but basically everything else just leaves you wondering, what? Huh? What's happening? So let's move on to another childhood classic, Teen Titans. And no, I don't mean Teen Titans Go, I mean the original classic Teen Titans cartoon from the early 2000s. I'm generally not the biggest superhero guy, but I was obsessed with Teen Titans. And of course, like any superhero, anything, there's a Teen Titans video game. One from way back in 2006 for...
the boxes.
Oh, did Robin just slice that dude's head off? Oh, okay. Okay, they're robots. Crisis averted. Jesus. Teen Titans is a 3D beat-em-up game where you can switch between all 5 of the Titans to fight off horde after horde of enemies that never stop, never get interesting, and I got really bored, so I decided to play something else. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends Imagination Invaders is a Nintendo DS game from 2007 that is, surprisingly, a 3D stealth game. You play as Blue, the living blob of hatred, as you run around Foster's trying to not get spotted by these big monster alien things. It's simple, it's easy, it's a little repetitive, but it's actually kind of fun. And believe it or not, it can actually be a little tense. Not scary, though I will be seeing this in my nightmares, but tense. The music in this game, and in the show in general, is like a circus nightmare on 1.5 speed. It's so weird and frantic, and in this game, it is blaring constantly. Just listen. Okay, forgot to record the game audio. Nice. Just trust me, okay? It's nerve-wracking. I don't know. The game's nothing special, but I think it's kind of cute. All right, that was fun. What were we talking about before? Oh, right. Teen Titans. Let's check back in on what's going on there. Yeah, can confirm. It's boring. Yeah, I don't know, these kind of beat-em-up games just do nothing for me. But luckily, this isn't the only version of the Teen Titans video game. They also made a handheld version for the Game Boy Advance. Maybe that one will be a little bit more fun. Let's see. I don't think that, I don't know if that, is this game haunted? Am I in a creepypasta? So yeah, Teen Titans was a bit of a bust, which is a shame, really. I feel like there was a lot of potential there, but it was just ultimately a big disappointment. But you know what never disappoints? The definitive Cartoon Network classic, Adventure Time. I'm pretty sure this is the show most people think of when they hear the name Cartoon Network. Jake the dog, Finn the human, going on wacky adventures in the land of Ooh. It's a classic, everyone knows this. So obviously, there have been a ton of Adventure Time games. Heck, I already made a video on one of them last year. That game was a 3D RPG adventure thing that spat in my face and hid my insulin because they thought it'd be funny. I didn't love it, but that game was mostly a one-off. In fact, most of the games with the Adventure Time name have absolutely nothing to do with each other, except for 3. There's actually this little mini-series of Adventure Time games, all made by the same people in similar styles. Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? Adventure Time, Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, and Adventure Time, Secret of the Nameless Kingdom. The names are kind of all over the place. These games were all made by a company called WayForward in the early 2010s. And while they aren't connected like story-wise, they all share the same basic vibes. I call this the Back in My Day trilogy, because all 3 of these are based on super retro games that most Adventure Time fans might not be super familiar with. Case in point, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? This is one of the earliest Adventure Time games released for the DS and 3DS way back in 2012. And believe it or not, this game is a clone of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, the second game in the Legend of Zelda series released in the late 80s. I mean, it's all there. In Hey Ice King, you play as Finn and Jake exploring Ooh, and it's kinda split into 2 modes. One where you walk around this super zoomed out world map, and the other where you swap to a side-scrolling mode to fight enemies. And what do you know? All that matches Zelda 2 perfectly. The enemies even kinda look the same. I mean, it's fun, it's cool, it's well made, it's just kinda confusing. A massively popular cartoon from the 2010s getting a video game that is a shockingly faithful homage to the the least popular Zelda game of all time, which was released like 25 years prior. That's just weird, right? I mean, I like it, but it's weird. But then 1 year later, there was Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, which is an old school dungeon crawler game. And it was released for a bunch of different systems, but I'm playing the Wii U version, which is the best version because you have a little BMO on the gamepad who talks to you.
Where did we leave off again?
PS3 couldn't do that. Maybe the 3DS could. I don't know. In this game, you play as Finn, Jake, Marceline, or a bunch of other characters as you run around, hack and slash, get treasure, and, video game. And once again, it's somewhat confusingly themed after NES games from the 80s. It still kind of plays like an old Zelda game, and all the cutscenes have this like Ninja Gaiden vibe. Did any kids watching Adventure Time in 2013 get this? Like, really? Well, either way, the game's okay. Just okay. I mean, I played it for like 10 minutes and was already feeling some intense monotony, and that didn't really go away the further I went, even when I started swapping characters, so I don't know. If you just want to turn your brain off, go dungeon crawling, and slap things with an ice cream whip, go crazy. And lastly, there's Adventure Time Secret of the Nameless Kingdom, released for various consoles in 2014. There was only a 1 year gap in between all these games. Jesus Christ. The last and probably the biggest game in the Back in My Day trilogy, because where Hey Ice King was an homage to Zelda 2 and Explore the Dungeon was based on old school dungeon crawlers, Nameless Kingdom here is a full-fledged clone of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Probably one of the best and most beloved Zelda games ever, and this game basically does its whole shtick to a T. It also reuses most of the assets from Explore the Dungeon, so I guess that's smart. As the name would imply, in this game you play as Finn and Jake going on a new adventure in a nameless kingdom. Let's call it, just pulling a random name out of my head here, Hyrule? Let's call it Hyrule. The Kingdom of Hyrule from the popular Nintendo franchise The Legend of Zelda. Our heroes are tasked with rescuing 3 princesses across the Kingdom of Hyrule by slicing up enemies, getting cool items, exploring an overworld in some dungeons, fighting bosses, and everything else you do in a Zelda game. And I know I'm giving it a bit of a hard time here for being such an obvious Zelda clone, but honestly, it is really well made. All of these games are well polished and just generally fun to play. So why be so salty to them? Well, I suck at these games. I don't know what it is, but I am absolutely god-awful at old school Zelda. I got stuck on the first dungeon in this game for hours. Actual hours. Now, I'm a pretty calm, level-headed guy, but after dying for the 15th time in the same spot, in the same dungeon, in the same game made for kids, I'll admit I started feeling the frustration. Yes, well, needless to say, I didn't get much further in this game, but despite my sheer incompetence, I can pretty confidently say that the Adventure Time Back in My Day trilogy is pretty dang good. WayForward really knows how to make some of the best cartoon tie-in games, and these are no exception. So, if you happen to land in the middle of the Venn diagram representing fans of the 2010 cartoon Adventure Time and people who were kids in the 80s, you'll have a great time with these. So we've seen a lot today. Games based on some modern shows, games based on some classic shows, and all shows that I like a lot. But for the final game of this video, I've saved one based on my all-time favorite Cartoon Network show. Besides Steven Universe. I meant like a classic Cartoon Network, not like modern, you know what I mean. My favorite classic Cartoon Network show of all time, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The best Cartoon Network show of the 2000s, if you ask me. 2 kids tricking death into being their best friend forever. That's an idea that's so ridiculous that it's genius. And as insane as that premise is, the show only managed to get weirder and weirder as time went on, with some amazing characters and even better voice acting. I will forever be jealous that someone could actually just naturally sound like Billy. And I loved this show. So naturally, when a Billy and Mandy video game came out for the Wii in 2006, I was so excited. I got it as a Christmas gift, played it once, and never picked it up again. And honestly, I don't remember too much about it. I have like a vague picture in my head, but that's about it. But if I only played it once and then never again, it must have been pretty rough, because I played some bad games as a kid and I still loved them. So I'm pretty curious and actually kind of worried about this one. Let's see what happens. What? Huh? What is happening? Just slow down. Slow down. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have no idea what's happening. I can't keep up with this. What is happening? Oh my god. Okay, I think I was wrong about Ed, Edd n Eddy. This is definitely the most chaotic thing I've ever seen. I have no clue what's happening at any point. It's loud, I can't see, I'm scared, but From what I can tell, this is supposed to be a fighting game of some sort. If any of you know that old game Power Stone, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here, just way more unhinged. But man, talk about just getting thrown into the deep end. No tutorial, no warnings, no time to think, just instant fight! I mean, I guess you hit buttons and swing the remote to do different kinds of attacks, but it's also insane that I can't keep track of any of it. I know the tutorial was on the main menu and I went for story mode instead, but I didn't think that they would just throw you into the fray with no explanation of what's going on. But apparently not. If you want to start this game, that tutorial option is a must. And I don't remember any of this from when I was a kid. Yeah, for some reason I remember this being more of a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, but so far it's just been a bunch of cage matches. Well, I somehow brute forced my way through a fight or two and then... Oh, wait, no, this is it. This is the part I remember. For some reason, a one-on-one fight with the jack-o'-lantern guy just randomly turned into a side-scrolling beat-em-up stage. Okay, cool. We have finally reached the only point in this game that I remember. I still have no clue what I'm doing, but I remember this. But it's over immediately as we then move on to shoot each other on the rooftops. What is happening? Where is this going? And then I lost. Yeah, I think I'm done here. I made it exactly as far as I did in 2006, and now I never want to play this game again.
3, 2, 1! Game over!
Wait, is that Weird Al? All right, never mind, the game's good now.